Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
And yeah, we got not a lot to talk about, honestly.
No, it's kind of a dead time for any kind of news. Nothing's coming out. I think March.
Yeah.
Right, March. March we'll have a new book to talk about. But yeah,
Well,
not a whole lot going on in the scene.
we had hoped to get some more leaks from Mordenkainen's, but I guess now that it's official, the leaks have been stopped. They plugged
Looks
the
like,
dam.
looks like it.
So, hopefully we'll learn some more about that. And then still no settings announced that we know are coming. Something is coming. We just don't know what.
And we will have that information soon.
TM. But I have a fun little thing set up here that we could talk about,
All right.
and then figured after that at some point chat would probably give us some fun deviations from this topic.
All right.
But this topic came up on the D&D Beyond webpage, written by one of their articles, written by one of their journalists, and it is D&D combos to destroy your enemies, not destroy, Trey. Destroy.
Roy. Okay. These spell combo or just combos?
Combos of like items and stuff like that.
Okay. Let's see what we got going on.
So they go ahead and mention here, hey, these give you an edge in combat, but remember your dungeon master gets ultimate say, which sort of undermines the list, but we'll get there.
Well, I think that's a nice way of saying, hey, look, wait for the moment,
Yeah.
pull this off, bask in your glory.
And then let it lie. Don't just do it again next week. Don't,
Yes.
Yeah, it's very important that you don't just spam it. That is a big one. So, number one on this list is the bag of holding and a portable hole.
Okay.
Of course, put the two together and boom.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on your DM, the bag of holding in the Dungeon Master Guide says that it opens up a gate to the astral plane. Some DMs just have them explode instead. I feel like this one starts. I would not have put this one at number one because it starts the list off with like, "There's no saves against this," and it's like, well, that's not necessarily what you want to shove down your players' throats. Is like, hey, go for things they can't save against.
Good tactic.
But they also do remind you, hey, just be aware this when you do this, it will grab whatever you're trying to fight, but it's probably also going to grab you.
Yeah. You set the trap with it though, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you're far away.
That's the goal. You set the trap with the bag of holding open on the floor, and you pull the little rope and it drops the portable hole down into the bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
What's that old board game, Mousetrap?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just do it like that.
Yeah.
I have a Rube Goldberg machine that's just set to drop portable holes into bags of holding.
Look, sir, you have just ruined the definition of that because it has a purpose. Therefore, it cannot be a
That's
Rube
true.
Goldberg machine.
That's true. That's very true. You're right.
Get this straight on this channel, sir.
Also, just a heads up, the handy haversack can do basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the portable hole. You could chuck a handy haversack in there.
Well, if you're following Raw and you've got any two things that are creating an extra dimensional space, I mean that's the general rule,
Yes.
specifically general, but that's a general rule. If you've got two things creating their own extra dimensional space that I don't think it's come in contact, but something to that effect. Yeah,
Right.
You have issues. There's problems. Which that one's pretty. That one seems like. Yeah, everybody knows that one,
Right.
right?
I think you might be disappointed with the rest of this list.
Okay. Well, I understand. I'm also coming in, from the echo chamber there of D&D,
Right.
where
Yes.
I can make a joke about that, and I know people understand it. If people just come into the game, this is good to know. It's
Yeah.
also a good way to learn the rules.
Absolutely. Next up is Darkness and Devil's Sight.
Mm, yeah. So I see.
So
So yeah, they're going classic, good
yes,
combos. Then I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what they're doing.
use,
Okay.
use Darkness, second level spell, magical darkness. Dark vision doesn't work, but if you're a warlock and you have Devil's Sight,
Yeah.
as they put it, you'll be cackling and swinging or blasting back with advantage.
Yeah.
But they also remind you here, hey, don't forget though, your DM can also do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imp,
Uh,
spirited devils, drow, all of those things can do this.
yeah. No, that's a good tactical combo though.
Yeah, for sure. They also, and this is why I like this list, is because they remind you, hey, DM can do it. Here's this thing to consider. Here's this thing. Your allies don't have Devil's Sight,
Right.
so just keep that in mind. You're blinding them, you know. Um, it's pretty good. It's a good combo. It's classic.
Yeah. Definitely classic.
For this next one, I'm torn between it being a great idea because it is, but also the second spell in this combo just being an incredible spell to combo with,
Okay.
and it's Flight and Invisibility.
Well, look,
Invisibility in anything is good.
look, that's not a
And
combo.
flight and
Okay.
anything is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what's good? Flight and fireball.
Yes.
You can just rain it from above.
You know what else is good? Invisibility and Fireball.
That's so true.
That's the thing for this one. It's like, well, I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
these are just two really good spells. And that got me to thinking, right? Why don't more parties have two wizards?
So they have a hard enough time keeping one alive.
That's true. But imagine your party comp is barbarian, paladin, cleric, two wizards.
Yeah. Well,
And they just buff.
if you go, yeah, just above because you got haste there. If you have the two wizards, you have a full life cleric. Barbarian would be cool, but I really think I would go with maybe like a battle master, like a
Yeah.
fighter on that. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to have the two wizards there. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine a fight where you enlarge the barbarian and
Mhm.
you make the paladin invisible and let him fly? So the
I was just think-
barbarian has him distracted and the paladin is just swooping in.
I was just thinking full armored like champion,
Yeah.
right? Hasted with the enemy slowed.
Yeah. For sure.
That's just vicious.
Yeah. Two
And if we're
wizards. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Where are the two wizard campaigns? Come on.
Oh man, that would be hectic. Fighting
If you're
over spell,
watching this
that's what it would
and
be.
you have a campaign of two wizards, please let us know in the comments or in the chat because I want to hear about it. That sounds like, and don't just have two wizards that both use fireball. No, if you got two wizards, you better not be just using fireball every fight. You better be working together, coming with some crazy strategies. Every single combat, it should be the two wizards looking at each other, going, "All right, what are we doing?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have there. You got two counter spells there as well, covering each other's spells.
Yep.
Well, you haven't burnt that reaction. The only thing that you're both allowed to cast in the same turn at the same time is if you both cast max level magic missiles.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be
Just
so
'cause
cool.
Just gotta let that go. That would have. Yeah.
It'd be so cool. Oh, that guy's running. Both the wizards just go, "No, he's not."
Oh my gosh.
The next combo they have is this is my favorite combo on this list because it's one that I think people don't think about very often. And it
Okay.
is Instant Fortress and Enlarge/Reduce.
Okay.
So Instant Fortress is like, it's a very cool thing, right? It's a
Yeah.
magic item, lets you make a fortress literally instantly. That's why it's called Instant Fortress. Go figure. Uh, but Enlarge Reduce turns it into a bomb.
Okay.
You reduce it, you throw it, then you drop the spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think we did this with. It didn't. That's a much more interesting way. Did it? We did with. Did we throw pebbles and then enlarge them, or did we do it that way? I don't remember. But something close to this actually happened in the campaign. But it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, second edition.
Yeah.
I think enlarge and reduce were two separate spells.
Get a ranger. We have not dark, but we are talking about combos
Oh,
that people love to use.
I'm glad you're here, Dark.
I just love the idea of like, hey, here's 10d10 bludgeoning damage, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna activate the Instant Fortress, and here we go.
Haste and enlarge the fighter or barbarian.
There you go. What about reduce the rogue so they can fit into smaller places? Reduce the small rogue.
Well, that's out of combat. Yeah, man. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with that.
What, an Oni that was level 17? Nice.
Very good.
Nice. What about reduce the ranger? Have the ranger fire an arrow. Would you, as the DM, say the arrow stays reduced when the spell is dropped, or does the arrow return to full size?
No, everything will return to full size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's the ranger uses volley of arrows. And it's just like 4 arrows flying. Oh, yeah. That'd be so cool. 2 wizard party. Come on. It's right there.
I do like the idea of the going to Thumbelina size or
Yeah.
Tom Thumb size and crawling into some of the like the old style lock and picking it that way.
For sure.
Good ways to use it if you can get the size right.
I think the coolest use of Enlarge Reduce that I've seen was on a paladin in like 3.5. Because paladin could not keep his oaths in 3.5 if he didn't speak up if crime was happening in front of him.
Yeah.
So you reduce the paladin so that even when he speaks up, it doesn't matter. You just can do what you want. One wizard make you small, another make you tiny, another make you minuscule. 3 wizard party, let's go. You get 4 wizards in there, and you're gonna be a speck of dust.
Look, if you're doing a 4 wizard party, you need to start them at 5th level. Do them a favor.
Yeah, they're not gonna make it otherwise. Yeah, any item dropped by affected creatures returns to normal size at once. So fire that arrow, and then it's back to full size, and nobody knows where those arrows are coming from.
They just appear big.
And then the final combo they have on here is one that, I think if you've been playing D&D, you know this combo. Okay. Sentinel and Polearm Master. It's
Oh yeah, the 2 feet together? Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, you have that, your dream is, all right, you need to guard this doorway. It's hundreds of troops.
Yep.
Are trying to get past you. I'm like, okay. This is what I was made for.
You're not moving. You're done. You're done. It's very good. 3 wizards, larger medium with super heavy armor. Yep.
Yes, the Ant-Man Thanos.
Yep.
Ending.
Unironically, Instant Fortress. What's it called? The immovable rod. You do a lot of things with reducing something and then activating a magic item.
Yeah. Those aren't bad. Those are I say kind of classic ones.
Mm-hmm.
Going through.
Do you have any that you would recommend as just like something maybe not nobody's ever thought of, but like a combo that you just love?
Well, like one simple one I like is like a piece, like you have a tube, if you can have like a map case,
Yeah.
and you cast light on a piece of cloth or a rock or something, and drop it down in the map case, and you have the flashlight, and you
Yeah.
cover the end of it with cast light on something, which is a simple thing, but you basically make a bullseye lantern
Right.
out of a map case and a napkin if you can cast a light spell. But it's kind of a low
Good.
level useful one. That's one. Most of the time you just cast light and you don't worry about it. You
Yeah.
move there.
Swallowed by a dragon. The dragon flew off. They activated a movable rod, and then the teleport thing with the door, and the rod ripped through the dragon.
I've heard I've seen a couple of stories like that of people setting up immovable rods.
You can do some crazy things with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you can't do with them? Use them as a peg leg because they don't move. Just a reminder. Keep that in mind.
So use them there to rest. Uh, yeah, well that in the one game we played, y'all had two of them, and y'all used them like a ladder thing
Yeah.
to go up. Uh,
Two
I'll
movable rods is a good thing to have.
Yeah,
Do a
very
lot
handy.
with them. I think my favorite like weird combo is very close to what we've already mentioned, but it's monk plus haste.
Oh
Monk plus
god,
haste is dirty.
I'm gonna hit a lot,
Yeah. Sorcerer
a whole
monks.
lot.
I mean, rods they can be used for that too. They don't move.
There's gonna be need to make a homebrew item, the immovable pole dance. The immovable pole.
I think another really fun thing to do is take, like within large reduce, you pocket a ballista or a catapult, and then
Mm,
you can just easily transport it somewhere.
yeah.
It's like, here's my ballista, throw it down, back to full size. That's true. It doesn't have to be tiny. It's your 8 feet. Yeah.
Maybe. In uh, I think in the D&D official lore there's a pair in there a foot long
Yeah.
in the official lore. I mean, you homebrew anything you want to, and it may be you're coming from Pathfinder. It may be they may have some cool crap like that in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Ask away. The well, it's I don't know. I think the like enlarged reduce was brought up here with the fortress.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a lot of those what do we call them, utility spells.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of get overlooked. Um, and it's not necessarily a bad. It's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of times the players or characters are thinking about battle,
Right.
you know, and what they can do to either dish out as much damage possible or keep their people alive,
Right.
or a balance of both for some. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think there are some spells that get overlooked. But
Absolutely.
it's the way it works.
I think people downplay how strong utility actually is. I mean, there's a reason that we used to call it tank, DPS, healer, controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't wizard, it was controller. You literally control the battlefield, and that didn't have to just be
Yeah,
a wizard.
should be able to fit the bag of holding. Okay, I lost the top of this chat. You got it?
Yeah, if let's say a bag of holding can hold like 50 bulk, and a giant weapon like a ballista weighs like 10, but it's too big to fit in the bag due to the opening of the bag. If you reduce it to drop it in the bag, is that safe? You set the ballista up to where when you open the bag, you can fire it out of the opening. Or would that not work because it shouldn't be able to fit in the bag of holding?
If you drop it in through the thing, I would let you keep a ballista in a bag of holding. If you reduced it, got it past the opening, and got it in there,
Yeah.
I might not let you have much else in there
I
as
also
that.
think I wouldn't allow you to just like pull it out. I think you'd have to reduce it again to pull it out.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure how to set it up to fire through the opening. That would look really cool though. Just opening the end of the bag and a ballista bolt coming out.
It sure would.
That would look pretty cool.
Sure would.
Might be a couple of other setup requirements in there, but one of the ways, the old school ways where they would talk about what a bag of holding
Hmm.
was actually if you got put in a bag of holding, you were in this 10 by 10 square room.
Yeah.
So
It was a bag of bullets.
listen, all right, what you
Okay.
got?
Bag of 1,000 ball bearings.
Right.
Open the bag, and right as the ball bearings are about to fall out, the wizard casts enlarge on the bag. You release the bag, and as the
Mm.
ball bearings are rolling, the next wizard casts enlarge again. Balls of Metal Death. That's the title of this podcast now.
Oh, I think I was going to name my next metal album.
Say it. That would
Let me
work.
write these all up. I don't know. It's kind of it's interesting that the wording that they have to think about when they put on some of these
Yeah.
on some of these spells. Otherwise, you're really gonna get some wild stuff.
Yeah. Or if you took a decanter of this water and enlarged it a few times, make a decanter of floods. That's
Not a bad
true.
idea. Not a bad idea.
That is true. I just love a bag of ball bearings. I think that much like utility spells, a bag of ball bearings and a lot of other items really,
Yeah.
like support items get downplayed as like, well, you don't need these. It's like, well, actually, if you think about what you can do with these.
Yeah. Well, you got if like fifth edition, combat's the slowest part on any tabletop game, right?
Right.
But fifth edition combat's pretty quick, given the history of tabletop gaming. Um, and I think maybe in a way, maybe that takes back away a little bit
Yeah.
from the stuff that you try to think to do, because I realize that and maybe it's just with experience of playing too, because I remember playing with people who's like, okay, they're a ranger, they have their bow,
Right.
when they find their spot, they throw caltrops out in front of them,
Yeah.
and things like that. Fifth edition combat really doesn't seem to play into that,
That's right.
because in fifth edition combat, okay, I'm gonna put on my caltrops. Okay, you got nothing else to do this turn.
Right. Yeah. You've
Yeah,
used your thing.
yeah. Unless your DM was gonna be like that's a used item, so I'm not
Right.
gonna hold that against you.
It's definitely interesting the way that the action economy has changed over the years and the additions, how that's affected combat. We've talked before about how the move from 4 to 5 is good in a lot of ways because you no longer go, well, every turn I need to have a main action, a bonus action, a move action. Well, you don't have to have those. You could just do the thing you want to
Yeah,
do. But I think
yeah,
also with that, it means you did more on your turn than you necessarily will do in fifth.
yeah. Pretty sure I've seen that in a cartoon. Pretty sure I've seen that in a cartoon.
Okay, so
Not
hear
sure.
me out.
All right.
This can take a lot of setup. I need 4 wizards for this.
Okay.
4 wizards and a bar. Okay. Barbarian. First wizard shrinks him, puts him in the bag of ball bearings.
Okay.
Second wizard, catapult spell, the bag of ball bearings.
Okay.
Third wizard, as it's flying, enlarge. On the barbarian. In the bag of ball bearings.
Wait a minute. Okay. Okay.
Barbarian breaks through the bag because
Yeah.
he's now back to full size.
Yes.
Fourth wizard, enlarge again on the barbarian. Barbarian lands in a action pose surrounded by falling balls of metal death that aren't as big. They're just small. But 1,000 barbarians falling on you is gonna hurt.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Especially if you got them up high enough to get terminal velocity.
Yeah, you catapulted them up, you know? But the barbarian, he's like even bigger now, so he's not going to take as much fall damage. You know?
It's true. It's and if he's yeah, especially if he's raging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
But
think
that
I'd
party would
still.
never survive.
I think I would still rather go. No, no. No. Let you give them some levels. They need some. They're gonna
Yeah.
have some spells to cast.
Yeah. The
And
barbarian cannot keep those 4 wizards alive.
yeah, and large haste on the on the barbarian,
Yeah.
and then reduce slow on anything he's going at.
Yeah.
That would just that. Oh my gosh.
You could take theoretically. This is the problem with theoretical spell work in D&D and tabletop. Theoretically, Dark, if you took enough enlarges, you could make a sun, yes. But you could also do that with theoretically, if you do enough enlarges, you will create something with enough mass and enough density that it breaks the earth underneath it.
Yeah.
Because it was never meant to support itself at that size.
Mm.
What happens if you cast enlarge on a portable hole?
I don't know. Will it affect it?
Oh, let me pull up portable hole. Make sure I've got this right here.
Well, I don't know. Possibly. I mean, it wouldn't become any sun, but you might be able to enlarge a fireball. But it's gonna be. I think that stuff like that's gonna have to be done before combat. Like that's your first attack.
Yeah.
You've got. I'm gonna hold my action. Well, no, you can still do it, but you're gonna have to plan it out. I'm gonna hold my action until he casts fireball. When he casts fireball, I'm gonna enlarge the thing. But there may not work.
I don't see why you wouldn't be able to make the portable hole bigger.
Okay.
But it is originally just 6 feet in diameter. So you'd have to cast a lot of enlarges if you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Much larger house.
Okay, so hear me out. A villain. Your big
All right.
bad. They have. This is real dumb. They have, like most things that I come up with, they have slave wizards whose sole job it is to keep casting enlarge on this
A
portable
portable
hole.
Yeah.
So that it slowly expands and eats everything around it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I would set it up like he's figured out a way to turn it into a ritual to where the enlarged stays permanent, but each
Yeah.
day he goes down and casts it.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, how
And
long is it going to take you to get there, Mr. Players?
that's
How
right.
big is this all going to get?
That's your time frame.
That would be something. This is nothing.
Yeah.
Never-ending story. God. Look,
Really cool.
that movie and Never-ending story. There was a scene that traumatized me as a young child and ruined my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a scene where he passes. All right, Atreyu passes the first test. Yes, he goes through there. He dives through the sphinxes, and the
Yeah.
lasers come down. Blows off. He dives through and rolls through. Everybody's excited about it, except the old man, who's it's his scientific speciality,
Right.
talking about the second test. And I was like, well, what could it be? Right? No, it's a mirror. Oh, it's just a mirror. Yes, but it's a mirror that shows you who you really are.
Yeah.
And most people run away screaming.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. What happened with Atreyu? He didn't.
Yep.
He ran away screaming.
That's right.
Like, dang.
For me, it was always the nothing itself. Like just the scene with the face in the wall and the teeth, and it's just like, whoa, every time I think about that, there's a part of my brain that just goes like, we don't need to think about this right now. We're okay. We can just leave. Big wide range, like high level military esque magic, like the ones that rain fireballs and meteors.
Yeah.
Few of them, yeah, you absolutely could. Wizards are so strong. Even like 10th level wizards are so strong
Mhm.
if you have a bunch of them together. Like a wizard cadre is
Yeah.
incredible.
And actually, fifth edition, it's hard for me. It would be hard for me to run a magic level campaign.
Yeah.
Where there's so much magic going about.
Right.
because of some of those spells. You
For
know,
sure.
some of the things they can do. You change. You know.
Well, and as soon as you go from like court magician for a small kingdom to like, hey, this is the king of a nation, and he's got
Hmm.
a 12th level wizard that is his court magician. You're not
Yeah.
gonna be able to easily assassinate that guy.
Right. But you know, and on the other hand, if you're a DM and you got all this stuff and you got this big bad evil king on the throne, right? And let's say you're not thinking about it, and one of your characters takes
Yeah.
dream walk, you know,
Yep.
where they can, and they figure out and they get to start messing with your big bad evil guy,
Yep.
BBEG, you know, in a way you wouldn't think about it, and that's not a spell a lot of people would use,
Right.
you know, uh, um, but it can, yeah, man, a week of that can, oh yeah, well, what? No, what would it be 7? Yeah, a week of that, and the guy's dead.
Yeah. What is that spell called? Yeah, transmute rock. Transmute rock is one of those spells too that I think people just completely
Yeah,
forget about.
yeah,
You got a wizard that took transmute rock 35 sessions ago, and your big bad at the end is a golem.
yeah, right.
And he just goes, "All right, I turned him into mud."
Oh no, can't do that. Golems are immune to anything that will
You're right.
trans.
We found that out.
Yeah,
We found that out. You're right.
yeah. Uh, I like the idea of a complete non magic party.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you're right. Golems are immune to that. We found that out.
Yeah, anything that I forgot that was trans not transmogrify, but to that effect.
Yeah,
Mo- A lot of magic. You
polymorph
know,
and anything like that.
look, you want to if you have a DM is clever is going to run y'all into the Tarrasque. Try to find some way to get turned into a mud golem.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it can't do anything to you. It can bite. If it eats you, you're going to be getting healed in its stomach.
Yeah,
You know, it will take you a long time to kill the Tarrasque.
but you will do it.
Every if it eats you, you're going to be inside automatic damage every hit, automatic hit. Wow.
Heals it. Magic gets weak too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Hmm.
You know what the best combo in D&D is though?
What you got?
Me and a Groff. That's the real combo.
Okay. I don't know. There's some weird combos you can do when you get to high level magic with like the what is this spell called? Simulacrum,
Yeah.
simulacrum, and oh shoot, well you just true polymorph.
Yeah. True polymorph is so good. I also think that like when it comes to the utility spells, stuff like we talked about enlarge reduce, we talked about haste, uh dimension door.
Oh, that's a good spell.
I'm gonna open a
Uh,
dimension door and push this guy through.
yeah, yeah.
There's
That's
so much.
that's the one that sets it up. Like, is it? Wait. You open a door and then the exit of it's like 500 something, or is it a certain distance away?
Yeah, it's
You,
a certain
yeah.
distance away, and you can choose, and it doesn't even have to be on the same plane.
Oh, okay.
You just need to know where it is.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
sick.
so good.
Uh, I think that's the uh there was a combo. Oh yeah, yeah. Now this would obviously if your DM may have two thoughts on this. Okay, one is yeah, okay, no problem. Number two is if you cast Flame Wall, it's a wall, and a wall goes from the ground up.
Yeah.
Now, if it's the first one, it's like no, well, you know, you can do a wall like off a ceiling. You can put Flame Wall above your enemies, then have somebody cast anti gravity field
Yep.
or reverse gravity. They're going to
Yep.
go up through the flame wall. Then you stop the spell and drop them back through the flame wall. And that's falling damage, 10d6 damage from the flame wall, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So
So what?
that's where we get into like the minutia of Dimension Door, because technically you can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller who's carrying gear up to its carrying capacity. They must be within 5 feet of you. You can bring them. It doesn't say anything about they have to be willing to go through.
Yeah.
If somebody kicks them in through your open dimension door, theoretically, you know,
If you can pick them up and carry them with you.
yeah. If you move through the door and they're not willing to go, do they just fall? Like, theoretically, if you're carrying them, they're on your person, including everything else that's on your person when you go through the door. Uh-oh, we froze for a bit. Heard the lifting and falling through the firewall. Uh-oh. We have been having some inclement weathers.
Yeah, it's getting chilly in these parts. The only thing I'm worried about with getting cold down here is because the area, our trees aren't used to it.
Right.
So that's the big dangerous thing right now is a tree falling from uh breaking a power line or something like that.
Yeah. I found you don't roll for fall damage, just half the height. Permanently. Also, welcome.
Huh.
That's
That.
interesting.
Huh. Well, there's a maximum once you hit in D&D. Once you hit past a certain amount of feet, that you're taking that damage. You've hit maximum velocity.
Yeah.
It's gonna max out at that. But don't roll for damage, just half the high. Okay, that would actually be like a quick way to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Instead of rolling out, however many die.
I have another one of those weird rule questions for you.
Oh gosh.
You blink somebody or banish somebody, and then when they would come back, you have converted the entire floor into an enlarged portable hole. Where do they go?
Well, I believe when they come back from banishment, they have to be able to go land in the spot.
Right.
So if you have a portable there, portable hole, that spot's not there.
Right.
They would have to go to the next nearest spot. So they would land outside of the portable hole area.
But blink is within 10 feet of the space you vanished from. And it does say you move to the next nearest spot. But how far can we push that? If we have 100 mages casting enlarge on that portable hole, will it shunt you out of the plane?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's gonna find some. You're gonna find yourself in some random spot, where you have safe footing to come back to this. The thing. I don't know.
People just die eventually when they fall from too high up. Yeah, that still happens in D&D.
Strixhaven.
Where'd you find 100? Yeah, Strixhaven for sure. So, I've pulled up a list of utility spells, and that's where these are coming from now. Is I'm going through utility spell.
Okay.
Could you theoretically? I mean, I know they have to be willing. Could you catnap someone and put them in a portable hole because their breathing will be reduced and they can live for 10 minutes in there?
The ruling on this would be, I think it's in the DM guide. It would be the same thing as putting a living creature in a bag of holding.
Right.
You have a yes, you get away with it, but if you don't get them out of there within X amount of days, which I don't think is like 3 days.
Yeah.
If you don't get them out of there pretty quick, then you're not going to like what you find when you do dump the body out.
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah, that would work. You can put somebody in a portable hole and pick it back up. So.
But if they're catnapped, then surely their breathing is reduced and they can last a little bit longer, right?
Well, yeah, I think that, and that's the argument you were kind of going for the side, is to give them, maybe they would have an extra day or two in there.
Right.
Yeah, probably so.
The great thing about fall damage in Pathfinder, other than just half the height, if you have catfall, which lets you take less damage from falling, when you have it max, you take no fall damage, no matter how high you fall. However, let's say you grab someone and throw both of you off a giant tower. If they land first, they take half the height's fall damage. But if you land on them, you impart all the fall damage you would have taken without catfall into them. Take all your supposed fall damage too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do when you're up high and fighting something is to polymorph it into a sheep and then push it off. It doesn't take damage till it hits the ground, but it takes all the fall damage. So
Yeah.
it still dies. It's great.
Mhm.
No sheep were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Well, I hope not.
Or they can just get pushed off. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What
All right.
about demiplane? That's a door as well.
Now, is that the one you pick the plane, or is that still random?
You can create one or have it connect to a demiplane you've created previously.
I think this was used. If I remember correctly, I was running a group of folks, and they had a ship, and they used this spell behind the doorway of their ship, and they worked on it, spent a lot of money, and spent
Right.
months doing it. But as if it was one of them that stepped through there, they went into the demiplane,
Hmm.
and that was where they kept all their stuff and had their
Right.
stuff set up.
Very smart.
But anybody else that was at the door, they just went to the bottom of the ship.
Right. Could you open a demiplane and treat it as a prison? Like literally, what's it called from Superman?
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
the Phantom Zone. Yeah,
Yes.
you could literally make a demiplane and use it as a prison.
Nice.
And in fact, I do. I think there's a couple of. I think there's a couple of spells you can combo in with that to pretty much make it unescapable. But I can't think of what they are right now. I think one of them you can put it if you put the demiplane inside a force cube.
Yeah.
Then even if they magically somehow manage to plane shift through, they'd still be in the force cube.
Well, theoretically, you could put anti-magic field inside the demiplane as well, because the field would be smaller than the plane itself. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't actually affect the plane.
right. Threw myself off the top of a tower that was like 500 foot and took the final boss with me. I killed him with crushing damage due to the fall. I party on him. Heck yeah. I was gonna have a big ending like that.
I'll do it.
The monks get we call it featherfall in D&D. Yeah, that kind of do the same thing.
I'm looking at all these and going, yeah, there's all these. You can get a tiny servant and
Yeah.
give it like a movable rod, or give it
Well,
a grenade.
hey man, give a ranger an unseen servant.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting away.
Right.
Nothing. That will be tracked down. If you want it found, there's nothing can get away from that. I mean, there's
Yeah.
almost like no roll for it.
I will track you to the ends of this earth.
You get an explosion. You get a red mist with the explosion. Unless they're lizard water folk, maybe it's blue or green. I don't know.
Okay, so I have one last dumb question, and then I will stop with my dumb questioning. If you took a tiny servant or an unseen servant, had them draw from the deck of many things, and got the card that takes your soul and casts it into the abyss.
It would be working on your will.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is I would rule that
Yeah,
it
I
still
think it'd
gets
be working
you.
on your will. It's going to get you. If you pull up death, if you pull up a demon,
Yeah.
it's gonna face off against you. It might squash your tiny servant. Yeah, it's your servant still your
Yeah.
will. Yep. But I wouldn't blame anybody for having their tiny servant go up and sit behind.
Yeah. So theoretically, okay, I said that was my last one. I have one more. This is the last one. I promise. I'm closing the
Keep going,
tab.
keep going.
This is the last one. Theoretically, if you took, okay,
I would
if
be
a
a little.
lich.
Hold on. You said anything is yours. I might be a little bit just for role play purposes, if you got the one that boons you with a lot of experience,
Yeah.
because we play milestone, might give that to the tiny servant,
Yeah.
so you have like this eighth level,
That'd be really funny.
whatever you pulled in.
So if a lich uses tiny servant, create a tiny servant, can it then put its phylactery? Can it turn that tiny servant into its phylactery and literally have like, well, you can't you kill the lich as much as you want because its phylactery is a tiny mouse servant running along the roof, and you don't even know it's there. Which obviously is very dangerous if something else gets it, you know. But
The only reason I don't think that will work, and I'd have to double check the lore, is because the lich would have had the phylactery before.
that's true. Yeah.
I don't
What if he
know.
turns the phylactery into a tiny servant? Well, no, it's a non-magical object. It wouldn't work.
Well, it's like, yeah,
Phylactery is inherently magical.
yeah. Hmm.
But he could create a tiny servant to carry the phylactery like a hog.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah. Ugh. I don't know. That'd be kind of a weird thing.
It'd be very because you're also like trusting that servant to keep you alive forever.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. If a lich casts simulacrum and made another version of himself, right?
Right.
An absolute version of his. No, okay, no, that couldn't work either because that wouldn't work on an undead
Yeah,
creature.
that's true. That's true.
Dang. I was trying to do the soul bounce, like you can do to become a permanent golden dragon
Yeah.
if you know if you have the spells or whatever. But no, that wouldn't work either.
What if the lich uses reduce on the phylactery and then feeds the phylactery to a true polymorph frog, and then that frog swims down to the bottom of the ocean? I guess it wouldn't.
No,
It'd be a fish. You'd feed it to a fish, like a big fish.
hold on, man. I think we're missing some of the lore of a phylactery
I think you're probably right.
because I do believe they got to have the phylactery. They can hide it, but they got to know. Don't they need to know where it is? If they lose it, then they're gonna not be able to sacrifice it, right? Not be able to give a
Yeah, that's
soul.
true. That's very true.
Let me think about it wrong. And I think I'll double check, but I think once the phylactery is made, it's immune to a lot of stuff. Uh, like I don't think there's a lot of magic you can would be able to cast on it. Not like not without like bending some rules or like, hey, this lich spent the past 100 years refining it.
Yeah. Lich is created by an arcane ritual that traps the wizard's soul within a phylactery, binds the soul to the mortal world, preventing it from traveling to the outer planes. It's traditionally an amulet in the shape of a small box, can take the form of any item possessing an interior space into which arcane sigils of naming, binding, immortality, and dark magic are scribed in silver. So it has to be a container, and it
Yeah.
has to. The phylactery cannot just be remade. It is that thing.
Yes. The yes. I did not bend the rules. My last phylactery I used was chambered.
Right.
Uh,
It also has to remain on the same plane as the lich, obviously.
yes. That's one of the hard rules. Can't move it off plane. So it has to be on the same plane, yes. I don't know. Scribing. I think instead of doing an actual animal at the phylactery, unless I just really found a cool way that I felt brought it through the story, I think I
Right.
might even go have. I think I'd rather do it. I think I'd have gnomes in this world
Right.
and, and have him have a clockwork, like a clockwork owl,
He's so cool.
you know?
Theoretically, you could still feed the phylactery to a creature, but then you have to worry about like what if it poops it out, and like
Yeah.
that could be
We
very dangerous.
so I think that goes against because liches hate the living, so I don't
Yeah,
know if they would use a right. I don't want a clockwork owl. The but yeah, I think I would use yeah. Maybe switch it up for like I said, the clockwork owl if we're gonna do like a bird or something like that.
yeah. Make an animal into a lich, then make another animal into a lich using the first one as phylactery. Do that a few times. Put yourself. Honestly, like, look, if I'm trying not to die, if I'm trying to live forever, that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be focusing on. Is like I don't care what it takes. I'm going to put as much work into this to make it work. You
Yeah.
know?
The phylactery, liches are really cool as a big bad evil guy.
Yeah. Didn't work for. That's true. Didn't work for Voldemort.
Yes, well.
Can you imagine your big bad evil lich is like he's causing all kinds of trouble. The heroes have finally got to face him. They strike him down. He rejuvenates and says, "My phylactery was not here. I put my phylactery inside a mouse years ago," and then the mouse dies.
Right.
And yeah,
Right. Do a bit of twist on it. Just make his phylactery Dobby.
who could kill Dobby?
Right.
Oh, can you imagine? They put the phylactery inside like a clockwork little girl,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, this is you. Nobody would ever. You heroes can't do this, right?
The
Ugh.
uh I don't know. There's always usually if a lich is in an adventure used, there's always you don't ever like attack the phylactery, right?
Right.
There's always some ritual or
Right.
some um, specific magic item that you have to have in order
Right.
to affect the phylactery.
Also,
So
just a quick thing for everybody else that may not know, uh, you can just level 9 dispel magic to automatically kill any phylactery. It's just a thing you can do.
well the well that's the whole thing, right? The phylactery is really kind of outside the rules of D&D. You know, it's like yes, this lich has beholders. Oh, one of them turned around and looked the wrong way.
Yep. Yep.
Well, never mind. There's two beholders.
No one's going to destroy the castle itself as a brick somewhere deep into it, the bottom of a lake latrine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. Would it be a warforged? Yeah, I don't see why not. Put a phylactery inside. I don't think the phylactery would be the warforged. The warforged would just contain the phylactery. It would be inside him. Yeah.
But I think I like that in the bottom of like latrine. I read that as lake latrine.
That's a
I
bad
was like,
lake.
yeah. I was like, no, I've got a new lake now, and behold, Lake Latrine.
Uh,
Lovely name.
what if you fed your phylactery to a groff?
Well,
No one would be able to hurt it. Who could bring themselves to hurt a groff?
cool. The phylactery is what they uses to power like a upgraded shield guardian.
Yeah.
You changed your name to Latrine. What was it before?
To clean something it obvious that has that magic somewhere. Yeah, I mean, it's for sure. For sure. Well, that was a podcast.
Well, no, those pretty good points on some spells that really don't get talked about too much,
For sure.
And like I said, tiny servants, a lot of stuff you can actually kind of do with that unseen servant.
Yeah, for sure.
Which do you have that? Can you pull that out right quick?
Yeah. Let me read that
Unseen
off for you.
servant, because that's a pretty powerful invisible butler.
Yeah, people forget how good it really is. So the spell creates an invisible, mindless, shapeless medium force that performs simple tasks at your command until the spell ends. Spell's duration is an hour. Servant springs into existence in an unoccupied space on the ground within range. It is AC 10, 1 hit point, and strength of 2, and it can attack. If it drops to 0 hit points, spell ends. Once on each of your turns as bonus action, you can mentally command the servant to move up to 15 feet and interact with an object. Servant can perform simple tasks that a human servant can do, such as fetching things, cleaning, mending. It's a free cast of mending. Folding clothes, lighting fires, serving food, pouring wine. Once you give the command, the servant performs the task to the best of its ability until it completes the task, then waits for your next command. If you command the servant to perform a task that would take it more than 60 feet away from you, spell ends.
Yeah. So you got this thing just around you that can take care of just everything.
Yep.
You know, it's like it's having for 1 hour for one spell. You've got basically, a servant.
Yep.
Nobody can see it.
It can open doors. It can open chests. It can open cabinets.
Yeah.
You can 100% use this spell to freak out somebody and make them think their house is haunted.
They can set off traps.
Yep. Axioms new spell. It's a very good spell.
It's when you read it and it's like, okay, well, somebody touches it, it dies. Gosh, if it goes more than 60 feet away, but no, there's just in that area, in that 60 feet, it's damn near limitless.
It is.
And outside of combat, man, it's such a safeguard. You can explore that whole area without putting your character in danger.
Right. Well, and I think the thing people forget is the big words there are the servant can perform simple tasks that a human servant could do. That means it can launch a catapult. It can't aim the catapult, but it can launch a catapult.
Mm-hmm.
It can fire a trebuchet.
Yeah.
It can't aim it. You're going to have to do that, but it can do all that stuff.
Well, yeah.
It can throw a grenade.
It can, go up a level and push off a rock.
Mm-hmm. Anything a
the
human servant could do naturally.
Yes. I'll say that. So, yeah, you summon Alfred for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it's handy. It's just a
and
stupid
he's
handy
invisible.
spell.
Hey,
Yeah.
go get that key over there so we can open up our cell.
Yes. Exactly. Hey, do you think if I had a human servant here, he could untie me? Well, sure. Okay.
Yep.
Go
to my bag and get the poison and then pour it in that guy's drink. Nobody can, they just see the poison lift up, and then you're good.
You did it. Yeah, it'd pull the pin and throw on the same command. If you have bombs or grenades, that is use item, and the throw would be no, you wouldn't roll for attack.
Yeah.
You'd have it would just be use item, yeah. So
yeah.
It'd be in the same command.
They're very, very good, and I think and tiny servants are great too, but tiny servant, where it has its advantages of being really small, doesn't have the advantage of being unseen.
Right. Through. I don't know. I'm gonna dwell on this legend of the shithouse phylactery on Lake Latrine for a while.
Later, Dark. We're about to head out as well.
We are, Dark. Glad you could join us. Appreciate you. Go watch the review podcast.
Have fun with that for sure.
Absolutely.
And we'll be back next week talking about more nonsense. Maybe we'll have some news by then. Maybe we won't.
Yeah, I hope so. If not, we'll pick another kind of topic, kind of go over rules and stuff like that. Expand on the game.
Don't forget, of course, the Tuesday podcast. We got, as always, more news rolling out constantly.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about stuff there, and then
I have some things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the movie.
Okay.
I have some things to say.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, if you're ready to roll out, then I am too.
Well, sure. We got we made it. We got a good hour of content here. We had a good conversation.
And as usual, if you want to see the pre-show, you got to watch these live. So check us out here on Twitch, or if you're watching from YouTube, check us out on twitch.tv/th3 Full Spectrum every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 CT, roughly, and we'll be good to go.
And if you're watching on YouTube, we don't want to do this, but a like, subscribe, especially a comment. Comment would help out a lot. So if you throw one down, really appreciate it.
For sure. Well, until next time, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
We've been the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum the D&D has to offer.